It is exactly 1 month since you were kidnapped, brutally killed, and dumped somewhere around the outskirts of Yaoundé. Since then, Martinez, the media sphere both in Cameroon and out of the country has never been the same. Journalists and civilians in the world have not had peace because they want your soul to have peace first. Hi, to you all viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by studio clock. Thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the news. January 17 to February 17, 2023 makes exactly 1 month since journalist Martinez Sogo was kidnapped, brutally killed, and finally dumped. 1 month after, so many tongues have been wagging and ink has been flowing. One thing which is sure, the national and international community, shocked by the gruesome act, anxiously waits for the murderers to be exposed and brought to book. 1 month after, some prime suspects are still under interrogation as investigations continue. We come back to what has been happening for the past 30 days after the kidnap and murder of Martinez Sogo in this edition of the news. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. We begin this edition with this human interest story. To start with this one, 2 suspected human bone traffickers have been nabbed at a travel agency here in Douala by elements of the GME-2 anti-gang unit. The suspects transported the bones from Babesi, the northwest region, to sell in Douala at the cost of 10 million francs CFA. Innocent asset also small.
It is in these half bars containing gari and maize that the 2 suspects hid the human bones, transporting it from Babesi in the northwest region through Fumban in the west region to Douala, Litoral region.
They confessed to us and told us all about the transaction, but they had to come and sell it here in Douala at the sum of about 10 million.
Brandon and Mohammed, both 21 years old, were arrested at the travel agency in Douala upon their arrival. This follows a tip-off given to the GMI-2 security officials, who, after reporting to their hierarchy, were authorized to apprehend the suspect.
By 5 p.m. this morning, we had to arrest 2 suspects by name Joya Mohammed and Brandon. We were transporting in a bag containing corn, maize, and gari, the human parts inside.
According to one of the suspects, Mohammed, Brandon wrote him about human bones he found while digging a foundation. Immediately, he proposed they sell it, but he refused. He is not engaged in such a dirty business. I have WhatsApp proofs of my refusal. He begged me to come to his house, which I did, but remained adamant to my decision. Since he was begging, I decided to contact a friend of mine in Douala if he knows any potential buyer of human bones, and he accepted to help. That is how I helped Brandon to travel with the bones to Douala, because he is an Anglophone and cannot express himself in French if we were to be stopped at the control post for questioning. Investigations are ongoing at the level of the GMI-2, and the file will be forwarded to the judicial police. From there, it will be sent to the competent jurisdiction that will open the doors of the court for the suspects to defend themselves.
And also, some suspects have been arrested here in Douala by security forces for the consumption and also sale of hard drugs precisely in the Douala 5 municipality. Our reporter Mala Glory tells us that most of those doing the transactions are all foreigners. Well, we'll be coming back to Glory's reports that would be in the course of this news. Now we take you to the southwest region in Boya, where Kongso Antoinette has been set free by the Boya Central Prison. Kongso Antoinette was arrested last October 2021 for allegedly having an affair with Sodu separatist fighter General No Pity. Smart Dikan Gabriel has more.
A happy Antoinette Konso leaves the premises of the Boya Central Prison with joy. Arrested on October 2, 2021 by a military officer known generally in Buea as Moja Moja. When she was 8 months pregnant, Antoinette Konso leaves the Buea Central Prison after serving 16-month sentence for not reporting terrorism. Antoinette Konso is a happy woman.
So strong, in prison, please, my brothers and sisters, let us start praying calmly. Prison is everywhere, everybody goes to prison. Let everybody in Cameroon, especially for our food crisis, Northwest and Southwest. I beg everybody, people should pray hard for our brothers and sisters. I beg all of you. Thank God, and when people are praying, people should include the women that are in prison. There are many of them in prison. We have many of us in prison, but I'm free right now. I thank the government. Thank Cameroon government freeing me. It's me free.
One of the lawyers who defended the case of Antoinette Konso from October 2nd, 2021 till when she left the prison on February 16, 2023, Barrister Ewule Edwards Lyonga says the battle wasn't an easy one.
We thank God that everything worked well. They saw it that she was not a secessionist. We saw it that she was not a terrorist. But the only thing that the court saw was that she failed to report terrorism. And it's a misdemeanor, and she was given just 16 months in jail. It's a great victory because the way it started, we knew that she was going to either be serving a life imprisonment or a death penalty. No, the baby is fine. The baby was with us in the court yesterday when she was released. The baby was there. The baby is a big girl now. The baby grew up in prison. We thank God that the baby is fine. It means she was well taken care of in the prison. The baby is fine and the baby is doing very well.
The case of Antoinette Konso didn't see the mobilization of women who, since the crisis started, have been playing a key role. But Konso was forgotten, with threats given to the only woman who stayed by Antoinette Konso, Saline Dape.
The challenges that I went through is because many women did not come out first. I was left alone. Many women complained that the way I'm doing advocacy is not the perfect way. Many women went and reported me to so many stakeholders that I will not call the names. A woman needs to support a woman when it comes to this type of situation. It is not only one person problem, but it's generally all women problem. So all of us is women for women, not the contrary. But it was really pathetic that since this case started from day one, we had many Women's Day, we have 16 days activism, we have so many days of advocacy, but women fail to come out. And even the few, one person that tried to stand by me, she received threats from other women and she herself left me.
It was last February 15, 2023 that the military tribunal in Buea freed Antoinette Konso, admitting that she is not a terrorist nor a secessionist. 65,000 francs CFA was paid to the competent authorities before Antoinette Konso left the central prison in Buea.
And 4 separatist fighters have dropped their arms and joined the DDR center in Bamenda in the northwest region of the country. General Grandpa and 3 others, Shankiki, Brainbox and Lastborn, said they did so after having tough times in the bush. Once again, Sumandi Kangibre has the details.
Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center of Bamenda in the northwest region has registered 4 new inmates. Pseudo General Grandpa of Awing, Santa Subdivision, alongside 3 of his aides, Shankiki, Brainbox, and Lastborn, have dropped their arms.
My name is Grandpa for Awing. It's not a force.
It was the decision that I took. I wasn't forced by anyone. It said that if a child makes a mistake, he returns to ask for pardon. I have hurt people in the past based on anger. That is the reason I have returned to make amends.
So there have been things on anger, so now I don't come now in reasonable. Now I decide to take myself, I take and bring them some the government be helewi.
The four, before arriving at the DDR center, dropped their arms with the Awin Gendarmerie Brigade commander. The head of the DDR center in Bamenda has praised the four former separatist fighters for their move.
We received 3 very close associates of General Grandpa of Santa Awin, and later in the evening, he himself dropped his arms and presented himself to the authorities. Right now we have 4 of them, and we are very proud to say that this is a great achievement. The young people are beginning to understand that the head of state wants them to drop their arms and nothing will happen to them. All of them are in the Bamenda DDR center, doing very fine and very comfortable. We have had a chat with them. They have familiarized themselves with their brothers and sisters out there. And I have advised that they should be able to see that they are in good condition.
The dropping of arms by these 4 separatist fighters comes when yet another attack was announced along the Kumba-Moyoka highway in a village known as Banga Bakundu in the southwest region.
In a locality called Toko, some suspected drug dealers have been arrested by security forces. Mala Glory in the report comes up next tells us that most of them were foreigners.
Part of this building in the Kotombange neighborhood, Douala 5 municipality, was occupied by 4 Nigerian illegal immigrants to Cameroon accused of dealing in hard drugs. An operation launched by the Douala Territorial Gendarmerie Group aimed at fighting drug consumption in the town of Douala led the security officials to these apartments. A search was carried out by the forces of law and order. After the said operation, huge quantities of illegal drugs were seized from the suspects.
Au cadre de la lutte contre la consommation et les trafics.
We have intensified the fight against illegal drugs, which has negative consequences on our health and also has an effect on the security in the town of Douala. Reason why we have turned to such entertainment houses, hidden and isolated homes which permit the fabrication of these hard drugs.
Des lieux de fabrication et de synthèse de ces drogues dures.
This hidden room, transformed to a workroom, contained 1.5 kilogram of cocaine, 800 grams of cannabis, 1.5 kilograms of white powder, another kind of drug, plastic bags, a scale, and 2 bottles of liquid substance. The consumption of these drugs, according to security forces, is harmful to the health.
Il y a des effets très néfastes sur la santé.
Those who consume these hard drugs are exposed to several health issues. It can lead to hallucination, lack of sleep, and loss of appetite, which can affect the heart, leads to heart attack and even death.
Des AVC, entre guillemets, conduisent même à la mort.
The suspected drug dealers, aged between 31 and 32, were arrested and presented to the public. Meantime, the gendarme officers called on the inhabitants to report suspected cases in order to put an end to the sale and the consumption of hard drugs in Douala.
Viewers, we told you in the headlines that it is exactly 1 month since journalist Martinez Zogo was kidnapped, brutally killed, and his corpse dumped somewhere around Yaoundé, 1 month after so many things have been happening. In the report which comes up next, our reporter Lucille Yengu Esia compiled some important dates and happenings from the day Martinez Zogo disappeared and the arrest of some suspects.
Salomon Bani Zogo, popularly known as Martinez Zogo, of the popular daily program Ambutiyage, at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday, January 17, was kidnapped by unidentified men. This was after his radio program on his way home, while his car was abandoned near his home in the capital city of Yaoundé. On the 22nd of January, 5 days later, the lifeless body of Martinez Zogo was found in an advanced state of decomposition at Ebogotiri near Soa, a suburb of Yaoundé. On the 27th of January 2023, President Paul Biya, through the Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, ordered that investigations be opened on the abduction and brutal killing of Martinez Zogo. In the same month, Lieutenant Colonel Justin Danwe was arrested on the 27th of January. After interrogations, he confessed that Martinez Zogo was kidnapped and taken to a building under construction belonging to Jean-Pierre Amugu Belinga, owner of Lanedot Group. Tuesday, 31st of January, the Director of General Delegation for External Research, French acronym DGRE, Leopold Maxime Eko was arrested. On the 2nd of February, President Paul Biya, in a second communique, gave precisions on investigations and also announced the arrest of several persons considered as suspects to the death of Martinez Zogo. On Monday, 6th of February 2023, Jean-Pierre Amugu Belinga, the CEO of the Lanedot Group, was called up for questioning and detained. And on the 14th of February, Amugu Belinga, with other suspects, were taken to the military court. From the military court to the State Secretariat for Defense, SEC, where they are presently held.
And now let's talk about the prime suspects in the Martinez Zogo murder case. The suspects in the Martinez Zogo assassination case are yet to be formally charged. The prime suspects are still in police custody. But who are they? Babila Jonathan presents the four in the following report.
From a very modest childhood to the head of a media empire, through his beginnings as a journalist, prime suspect in the assassination of journalist Martinez Zogo, Amugu Belinga established a media empire with a newspaper, a radio station and 2 TV stations. Several scandals have come upon the controversial figure. His accusation of people from the Beti land as fundamentally lazy, dishonest, cynical and wicked provoked reactions and debates. Other scandals linked to Amugu Belinga include his exchange with former Minister Patrice Ambassador on the lack of gratitude following the purchase of a land at 80 million francs CFA in Kribi, and the broadcasting of telephone exchanges with the Cameroonian ambassador in the Central African Republic and the reaction of the ambassador to his superiors. The accusation of people from the West, notably the Bamileke, of being poor guys, another prime suspect in the assassination of journalist Martinez Zogo. Leopold Maxime Eko is a police commissioner who has been at the head of the General Directorate of External Research since August 2010. Holder of a doctorate degree in the science of information and communication at the University of Paris-Est, Man-la-Vallée. In France, Eko is an expert in economic intelligence. Before his appointment to the head of the General Directorate for External Research, he was Director of General Information at the Delegation of National Security. In 2010, he inherited a very sensitive institution with a very bad image in public opinion, which still remembers the humiliations and other brutalities inflicted on Cameroonians decades ago. Colonel Etundin Sue is a former commander of the Presidential Guard of Cameroon. He is presented as the 4th colonel to take over command at the helm of the Presidential Guard after Ebogo Titus, who led that unit of the National Armed Forces from 1985 to 1999. Prior to his appointment to head the Presidential Guard, Colonel Etundin Sue was commander of the Armored Tank Battalion in Douala. Colonel Etundin Sue started his military career in 1985 as Presidential Guard after graduating from the Yaoundé Military School. Born 1st June 1961, the native of Mefu Anafamba Division is married and a father of 3 children, including Melissa, one of 3 wives of Amugu Belinga. Another name, another suspect, Lieutenant Colonel Justin Danwe, is said to have led the operation of the killing of journalist Martinez Zogo. The element of the National Armed Forces of the Republic of Cameroon is also a writer, author of the book Le Génie du Mal, L'Assaut des Enfants Soldats, on the recruitment of child soldiers by rebel groups.
And now still talking about the Martinez Sogo murder case, President Paul Biya, who is known for his usual silence, has made outings concerning the murder of Martinez Sogo. The first was when the head of state ordered for investigations to be opened to track down the criminals. Mala glory comes back to the outings of President Paul Biya in the murder case of Martinez Sogo.
The brutal killing of Martinez Sogo was not just shocking to Cameroonians, the media, legal minds and international organizations who called for justice, but also to the President of the Republic. President Paul Biya, who is noted for his silence, unexpectedly ordered for investigation to be opened on the death of the Yaoundé-based journalist who was kidnapped, tortured, assassinated and abandoned in the outskirts of Yaoundé. In a press release signed by the Secretary of State, the President instructed the Defense Ministry and the National Gendarmerie to carry out an investigation on the circumstances of the death of Martinez Sogo. The news was highly welcomed by Cameroonians who were convinced that justice will prevail. On the 2nd of February 2023, 6 days after investigations were opened, another press release from the President of the Republic of Cameroon through the Secretary of State announced that the investigation process led to the arrest of some prime suspects in connection with these barbaric acts. The head of state went further by sending his condolence message to the family and above all expressed his full support to the media profession in Cameroon.
And just to let you know that a press conference is now going on in Yaoundé, precisely at the Meuble Ekang, and it has been presided over by one of the family lawyers of Amogu Belinga Jean-Pierre, who is Barrister Charles Shungang. We will be bringing you details that would be at 8 p.m. And now we talk something else. On rather sad note, the mortal remains of the popular Cameroonian artist Pendandale was removed today at the Bonanjo Military Hospital in Douala. Many turned out in their numbers to bid the 65-year-old farewell. Immaculate Fogwe reports on his journey to eternity.
The journey to eternity begins for legendary Makossa icon Pendandale Shang. Around his guitar-shaped coffin are family members, friends and colleagues of the deceased who are mourning his departure. The corpse removal of the artist of the famous title Bonadibon from the album Bala is taking place at the Bonanjo Military Hospital in Douala. Many describe Pendandale as an exemplary figure worth emulating. Seeing a talented person like this in a coffin really hurts. He gave his all in the music industry. We all will one day die, but it is always said, an artist never dies. Pendandale remains in our heart. We are devastated. He made us enjoy good Makossa music. He was so humble despite being on the top. When you think of good Makossa, you think of Pendandale. Go well, my brother. A funeral mass later took place at the Bethel Church in Accra. The 65-year-old award-winning Makossa artist was found dead in his apartment in Paris, France on December 26, 2022. He will be buried on Saturday, February 18th at the Ngodi Cemetery in Accra, Douala. His family, artists, fans and well-wishers have mobilized to bid him farewell.
And also just to let you know that the mortal remains of the Minister for Mines, Gabriel Ndoke, who passed on some time ago briefly, have also been removed from the mortuary in Yaoundé and was taken to the Our Lady of Victory Cathedral in Yaoundé, where a requiem mass was presided over by the Archbishop for the Yaoundé Archdiocese, His Lordship Jean Barga. We will also be bringing to you details that would be at 8 p.m. and in other editions of the news. Now we take you out of our national frontiers to Nigeria, where Nigeria reissues old banknotes as cash fiasco threatens to disrupt the Sunday, February 25 presidential election. Following violent scenes in banks and calls from some state governors, the President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday directed the central bank to reissue the old Naira notes and extend the deadline to another 60 days. For me, Armstrong Sander is a man on that beat.
200 Naira banknotes.
It was on Thursday that President Muhammadu Buhari gave the approval to the central bank to extend the deadline to turn in old banknotes by another 60 days. This decision came after cash shortages stoked anger ahead of the presidential and parliamentary elections. Violent protests have erupted in recent weeks as millions of people struggled to get their hands on new redesigned versions of the 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes that were cancelled on February 10th, despite a Supreme Court ruling 2 days previously that the planned currency swap should be suspended. Now, Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, the INEC, has reportedly warned that the inability of banks to distribute enough of the new cash could make it difficult to pay temporary staff and security guards needed to operate thousands of polling stations for the presidential and parliamentary election on February the 25th. The swap, experts say, was to cut down the multiplication of counterfeits and the production of large sums of money outside the banking system. In scenes reminiscent of chaos unleashed in India when it tried to swap 2 of its biggest banknotes in 2016, many Nigerians have been spending hours in long lines at cash points in a desperate bid to get enough cash to meet their daily expenses. That shortage has led to frayed tempers and hardship, particularly with those who work in cash-based informal economy and for citizens who live in rural areas. Protests are spreading across the country and bank branches have been damaged. Reacting to the president's decision, a former lawmaker, Senator Shehu Sani, said allowing the old banknotes to remain legal tenders before the February 25th and March 11 elections in Nigeria will enable corrupt politicians to engage in vote buying. He questions why mainly the ruling APC party candidates and governors are insisting on using the old Naira note.
Thank you for me, Armstrong Sander, for that report, which brings us to the end of the news. This 6 p.m. on Equinoxe Television. Viewers, thank you so much for always being with us. But don't go away. As usual, our programs continue in about 30 minutes. Serge Alain Wutu will be with you in the studio for your program. Equinoxe Soir and Julien Beth Bissai will be here at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Bye-bye for now. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte